So now both sides are done, and I need to put the two together to make it reversible. This can be a little confusing, and you just have to be patient and pin things and flip it and just see how it's supposed to be. But especially with the hood, being so long, you have a lot to fuss with. But the way that this is working is it is bad side out, and then on the reversible one, it's the actually good side out. And how you know it's going to work is if you pinch a section and then turn it over and flip it, you'll see, okay, both good sides should be showing. So again, it can be a little confusing because you're dealing with a lot of volume here, and there's a lot to get lost in. But basically, when you look on the inside, it's the bad side, and when you look on the outside, it's the bad side. So that's how I'm doing it and how I figured it, so that when it flips, it'll be good, good. Right now, it's bad, bad showing. I'm not touching the hem at this point. It will be the very last thing that we do, aside from possibly putting on the clasp. So the way this is going to go together, if you've ever made a pillowcase, this is how it's going to be. You're just going to flip it inside out. So I'm essentially going to attach the edges of the hood and the front, everything except the hem. The hem will not. It will stay. So that's going to be the easiest. Originally, I was going to do the hem and then do the rest of this by folding them in. But that's a lot more work, and I would rather do a small area like that by doing the fold in than to do this entire area, around. It's just an awful lot to do. It's a lot easier to just sew with the sewing machine and flip it inside out and have it be done, instead of going with your fingers and tucking all the way down. So it's just a personal preference. This is the way I have decided I want to do it, mainly just to keep things less technical. But that's where I'm at. So I'm going to start pinning my edges so I can just throw it on the machine and let it go. And I'm just making sure that I'm pinning things like this so that these match. And that's it. So as you can see, it is finished. And this is the end result. You can always make your hood differently from mine. It's up to you. But if you wanted to do it exactly how I had it, I'll show you how mine turned out. As you can see, I have a lot of volume here left, which is really nice, especially if you decide you don't want the hood and you want to lay it back. But I'll show you what it looks like from the side. And if I wanted more privacy, I could bring it forward a bit more, like that. I have so much volume that I could fold it up if I wanted and show more of the green. And again, I could bring it back a little. I could also fold it back completely and use it more like you see with some other traditional robes, where it's more of like an extra piece that shows other colors. So mine really doubles as both. And from the little accident I had with the width, actually turned out quite nice. This is one of those happy accidents that often happens and makes the design a little bit better. And I'll show you that too. Hopefully you can see it. If you can see there on the hood, you'll see where it was attached together. And it's created a bit of a striping in a diamond shape. If I had planned it, I probably would have done that section in brown. And it would have been a really interesting, different way of executing the same thing. For the front, I just have a clasp. You can do a tie if you want something more simple. It depends on your desired look. For me, I wanted something that had almost a Celtic look to it. I didn't find the exact piece, but this is pretty close. And it's the same on both sides. For the reversible, I have the silver. And then, of course, I have the gold. But it's up to you. If you were to do a tie, you'd only have to do one side, because you would attach the tie here on the seam. So this is a bit of planning ahead of time. So before you were to sew this section, you would, with a pin, put your little strap on either side. So when you got to that section, you remembered to sew it in with it. And then you'll just have one tie. Because it comes essentially from the middle, it would work from both sides. So again, that would be another way of incorporating maybe another color if you wanted to do a multicolor effect, kind of like how I do, but you could really play on it a bit more and introduce a third color, and that third color could be not only on your tie but on your hood. So it's your choice. There are a lot of options. I also didn't do any trim. I left mine plain, but that's the look that I wanted. You can certainly add trim if you'd like. And that would be another thing where, as you're sewing, as a part of your planning, you could sew your trim on the inside so that half of it sticks out like a lace. And that way, again, it would work for both sides instead of doing the traditional trim that overlaps both pieces. Lace, I think, would look prettier that way because it would show and stick out and be, another dimensional thing instead of just going on top. I think I'm at a loss for words of describing it, but I think it would be a better effect to have the lace that way, if that's what you wanted to do. But it's your choice. Either way, I love it. It's very comfortable, very nice. And having such a voluptuous hood also makes it nice. And of course, you can house a lot of hair in this. If you really wanted, you can see how big it actually is when I stretch it all the way out. So it's a lot of hood, but I figured better, more volume than not enough. And this definitely has volume. So if I stand up, you can see how long it actually is, which is how it's able to span my shoulders so well. So I hope this helped. Preferably, I hope that it was easy for you if you did do it, or if you plan on doing it, I hope that it's easy. It should be. It all depends on your experience. So if you're a novice, it may be a little bit difficult. It's certainly doable. I think anyone who has a machine, whether you own it or borrow it, can do this. And so good luck and blessed be.